Hi everybody, it's Dr. Julie Quinn here, and I'd like to introduce you to Module 4 in English 130. Okay, so the Module 4 introduction, you've seen these introductions for the past couple of weeks now. So you'll remember that they present learning objectives just so you kind of know what's about to happen, and an overview of the module. We're going to talk about thesis statements, which is an argument that you make, elements of different genres, evaluations, explanations, and arguments. Explanations, you may find that I'm using slightly different phraseology in my feedback, but it means the same thing. So if I say expository, that's explanatory text. If I say informational, that's explanatory. So there are lots of synonyms for the same word. I hope that's not confusing to you, but if it is, let me know. Okay, we're going to talk about the shape and the frame of writing assignments as well, that when you write these essays, you've been doing a lot of pre-writing in relation to your chosen text and who you think your audience is and why this information would be necessary to talk to them about it. And I'm going to make sure that in this week and in the weeks to come, we talk about how that essay is structured in addition to the purpose of specialty paragraphs. An introductory paragraph is a specialty paragraph. A conclusion is a specialty paragraph. Then you've got all those body paragraphs in the middle. Think of it like a sandwich where the introduction and conclusion are your framing elements and all the good stuff in the middle. That's what we're really there for, those body paragraphs. That's like the meat of the sandwich and all the fixings. We're going to talk about ways to specialize those as well, depending on who your audience is and what is the purpose of the document. Your paragraphs may shift in focus depending on whether you're explaining or persuading. So these are the things that we'll talk about here. So as you move forward through the module, let's just go ahead and move through the module. So the next page is creating a thesis statement. When you write about this text, remember, you're not just summarizing it for your audience. You're explaining the quality of the text and all of that. Whether it's a text you would recommend them read, whether it's a text you think needs some updates or could be part of a larger collection of reading for this audience. So as an example, for those of you that are talking about like workplace productivity, your text is about like multitasking and workplace performance. You may make an argument that the text is a good reading for employers, but it's one of a collection of texts, that it's not the only reading on this that they should read, but perhaps it's a gateway text. And then maybe for your secondary audience, you feel that as it's just an informational text, you don't make recommendations for others. And so there's different ways to talk about the text. You're not just going to be summarizing. You're going to talk about the quality of the writing, the quality of the research, the quality of its organization and its tone and its audience awareness and all of that. Okay. But your thesis will be, whether it's an effective text or it's not an effective text, or whether you think that it should be read as in part of a collection. Whatever argument you want to make is fine as long as it's informed by the text. Okay. So you've got these questions that you're going to play with. And I'm also going to include this week later announcements about thesis statements that may shift in shape from the content and the reading from the required readings of the week, but that's okay. A thesis is really an argument because of a set of reasons. And we'll keep working on that this week. Okay. So after you take a look at that reading, then you'll notice that there are a ton of resources this week. But as you click on these resources, defining the genre, for example, let's see what happens when it pops up. This is in our ebook. You'll notice that some of these readings are just a couple of paragraphs long. So while there are 7 or 8 independent, let me actually go back to where we were here. Okay. Here we go. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 7 links, but sometimes there's only like a page or 2 of reading. So remember, this is a college writing class, and the expectation is if you're in an 8-week session, so it's almost like you're doing 6 weeks of work, right, or 6 hours of work, because most traditional college terms are about 15 weeks. So you've condensed it to 8. You're going to be doing double the work, and so it's not unreasonable for a student to have, there's at least 10, 12 pages of reading here, and there's even more reading. That to read 40, 50 pages a week for one class, that's pretty common. Note that there's a mixture of some reading and some videos. These videos are less than 5 minutes in total. I would do 2 or 3 per day. I wouldn't do more than that. I wouldn't try to do it all in one day. simply because it's going to be overwhelming and you could forget things or mix up concepts. Note as well that there is information on APA and MLA style. The style you choose will be dependent on your major. There is a lot of reading this week. 2 or 3 a day will get you through the 7 days, I promise. But you want to make sure that you do it. Okay. The next assignment you've got is what's called the 4-1. It's module 4, gradable exercise 1, decision tree, creating a thesis statement. You'll always want to click on these rubrics because it will give you an overview. Remember, the thesis statement is one sentence. It will identify the topic, state the claim, and you combine them together. So for example, if I'm writing a paper that's not based on an analysis text, but just on an issue, and I make the argument that the United States should stop using the death penalty, there should be some sort of federal legislation that limits use of the death penalty. The topic is the death penalty, and my claim is that the United States should stop doing it. And there's got to be a list of reasons why that's the case. It's not just based on personal feelings, but that's when you're going to go back into your text and you're making a claim about the text because of particular aspects or features of that text. Okay, so we've got a template here that is related to how it's going to be graded, and it's broken down in pieces. Let's take a quick look at the tree exemplar. And what this basically says is your topic is productivity culture. Your claim is being productive is important, but she doesn't effectively argue. So that's your angle. So this is the text that the student is talking about. It's not one of our texts, but it's just a general example that she makes this claim, but it's not effective. You don't always have to agree with your reading. I know I've noticed that most students are, but you don't have to. Then we combine the topic and the claim there. And then the second part is because of reasons. And you'll notice that by the time we get to the end of this, we've got these list of reasons. We've got one complex sentence. So working through this handout is going to help you see that a thesis is a claim related to your reading because of a list of reasons. And if anyone has any questions on this worksheet, please don't hesitate to reach out. This is absolutely the time that we work together on that. So you can look at the template. You want to use this to build your assignment, and then the module 4 decision tree. So I'll be looking at the topic, claim, how you combine it, because you're practicing getting all of the pieces of the puzzle together. And in the end, even if you do have it in one sentence, how clear was your communication throughout the document? So in addition to that, we've got this module 4 preliminary introduction guidelines. So in this assignment, you're going to use artifacts from past assignments to form the introduction from your project. Artifacts meaning from other assignments you've done in the class, from your pre-writing in your notes. Okay, you're going to create an introduction. So the deliverables for this week would be that worksheet that helps you plan out your thesis statement, and then writing an introduction for the first version of your essay. And then introductory paragraphs have these features. Keep in mind that your introductory paragraph for this assignment is only going to be at most half a page by the time that the essay is done. So it's not, introduction paragraph's not particularly long. Okay, so again, we've got the introduction template and we've got the exemplar document. Let's take a quick peek at this exemplar document. Okay, so the idea is to write sentences that draw in. When you're practicing this, it doesn't mean that you keep everything here, because at the end, some of these bits and pieces of information are what's combined, right? So some of you can see by 20, the introductory sentences end up getting folded in here. What is an overview of the article? What is the thesis that you did in exercise 4.1? And then you kind of bind it together. I'll be able to go through then and give you feedback. Is it repetitive? Can we pull back on some of it? Does it need a couple more warm-up background details? Then we can add it. So this is feedback that you're getting, and it will be a really nice sort of start to your document, okay? So just remember, you've got exercises 4.1 and 4.2. Those are the main gradable aspects of the week, and you have a lot of hyperlinks and little things to read. Remember, reading 2 or 3 of those links per day, taking notes on them will really help contextualize the assignment. Students tend to do not so well when they're not doing the readings, or when they're reading too quickly, or when they're reading on their phone. I would recommend reading this on a tablet or on a laptop. And preferably, if you can print out those links and take notes in the margins, that will really make it effective, because reading on hard copy allows you to go just a little bit more slowly. At the very end of the modules, just look ahead. Hey, here's what's coming up to module / week 5 and the weeks ahead. But the idea here is to see how it all ties together. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or concerns, and I look forward to talking with you this week.